Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Just got a new used car, so pretty
Yep.
good.
Great, great. Yeah, and it turns out similar to what I've got, eh?
Just a little older,
Just a
yeah.
little older and a little bit more used, but that's okay. They're very good vehicles. And hopefully a tree doesn't fall on this one, huh? Here's
Yeah.
hoping.
Yeah.
But then again, the
Oh
vehicle you
man.
just got, I think, is a bit more resistant to trees. We'll see. We'll see.
It depends on the tree because the ones that we
That's true.
mostly have here are the spruce ones, and those are
Those are big.
lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how that works. The fluffy leafy leaves are the heavy trees, and then
Mhm.
the prickly leaves, pine
Coniferous
needles and
ones are
stuff,
not as much. Yes.
are yeah, they're a lot lighter kind of
Right,
thing,
right.
which is just such a weird thing.
For sure. And yeah, welcome back everybody to Bite My Shiny Metal Cast, season 5, episode 12, Spanish Fry. Please like and subscribe and comment if you like talking things all Futurama. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, let's jump right into this episode. Like I was telling you off air here, my Mitch, the this episode takes a little bit of time for me to, or it took me a little bit of time. I had to research some stuff for it, but the main thing.
You went
uh,
down the Bigfoot hole, rabbit hole.
No, well, no, not at all. I know that's your forte.
Oh,
That's more your thing. You can talk about that. But no, actually, what it was is because like at the very beginning, like jumping right into our caption, it's in the Futurama Alienese, and I had to
yep.
translate this thing. So it actually says, "Thanks for watching Futurama Slave Army." So that's what they refer to as their fans, I suppose. But no, that was one of the first things I had to do. But also, the name of this episode, Spanish Fry. Do you know why it's called this? I just learned this.
Oh, crap. What is that called? Oh, something to do with like Vol's blood or something. I can't quite remember. It's an actual aphrodisiac,
That's
Spanish
right.
fly or something. I can't remember.
Correct. Yep. It's called the aphrodisiac, and yes, it is. There's another one that used to be used. Apparently, was called the Spanish fly. So it's a pun on that with Spanish fry, obviously, because they use fry in this regard. But yeah, I learned that for the first time. So I was like, oh, okay, that's why this episode is called that.
Noob.
I had no idea. I had no idea. So, in any case, we open up on yet another thing that's kind of unique for this episode is we don't get the Futurama, intro music as
Music,
we
yeah.
normally do. It's actually them beatboxing it. So,
I do like this. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
it's
it's,
kind of
it's so
cool.
different.
Yeah.
I think they've done like maybe 4 or 5 different types of opening. There's like
Not including the movies, I suppose,
excuse me.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, not including the movies, but there was one like someone had made like a, I don't know what to call it, little puppeteer. Like they
Oh,
had to
that's
puppet
right.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
scene
yeah.
themselves and stuff like
Yeah, and
that,
it's like
and
on a
like they had to.
stick and it's going around. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
it,
Yeah, yeah,
it, it
yeah.
was it was really cool and clever, and I
Mhm.
wonder if that was fan made, and they're just like, you know what, let us take it off your
Use
channel or
that.
whatever, sell it to us, we'll give you money. I don't know how it worked back then. Nowadays, it's like, hey, you use something in our likeness, you're going down,
For
mother.
sure.
Forever.
I remember in the Comedy Central run, they have an intro where it's like a normal intro, except the ending portion where it says like an ad or something, and it says free beer, and that leads into the actual
Yes. Oh
episode,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Bender
yeah.
jumps out of the window, and that leads right into the episode. So right from the intro or something.
Beep, 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 beep,
But yeah, no, it's
beep.
pretty cool. So in any case, they beatbox the episode all the way through, and that's our opening. So wanted to
Zoidberg,
mention just because it's new.
Zoidberg,
Yeah.
Zoidberg.
So the characters, right, our beloved characters, are all going camping in the mountains. Something that Mitchell and I are familiar with in our lives. We've done this a few
Twice,
times.
twice. I
Not
think with
together,
each
you
other.
idiot. Like with a bunch of people. Like
Well,
I've done this a dozen, if not 100 times. I'm
with
sure
you
you
and
have gone
me.
camping multiple times. You and I have gone
No.
camping a couple times, but no,
Yes, yes.
I'm
There was
saying
once
in
where it was quite
general.
intimate, where it was just you and me in my car because we couldn't get the damn tent in the ground because it
What
was
is
like concrete.
what does Zoidberg call it? Just friends spooning.
Just friends. Oh yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, yeah. You and me did some just friends
Friends
spooning in my
spooning.
car because it was
You
cold.
could get and the damn tent. You're right. Yeah, that was a pain in
Yeah,
the ass. It was like
that was
frozen
literally ninety
ground.
nine
Yeah,
percent of the reason why we couldn't
yeah.
put the tent up was because
Camping
the
in
ground was
November.
like either
Yeah.
frozen. No, I don't remember what it was. It wasn't that late, but it was like
Hmm.
still kind of like coldish or something like that.
It was
I
chilly.
swear it
Yeah,
was
it was
concrete
fall.
with like
Yeah,
gravel on it, and they're like, "Yeah, you
yeah.
can put your tent down." Uh.
Nope, could not do it. So we had to sleep in your previous car, with like a couple cars
My
back, right?
first
Yeah, your
car.
first car, and yeah, that was fun. But in any case, I digress. Our characters are going camping, and they're going to the mountains. And funny enough, actually, this is also very similar to where we're from. right? This is over in the Pacific
Rocky
area, like in
Mountains.
the Rocky Mountains, very, very close to where we live. And Fry is kind of leading the charge of all this kind of stuff, but he is big into Bigfoot, as our friend Mitchell is. Now,
Big-ish. Like,
Bigfoot,
I'm not a
not as
fanatic,
much as
but
you
I
used
do like him. Oh, no, no, no. I don't think it's changed much. It's just I think my belief has gone a little down.
probably.
Sad.
Well, I was, on top of this, just as a side thing, we barely even touched the episode as of late, but didn't we just see like 2 episodes ago in the Parabox episode? Didn't we see Leela reading about Bigfoot turning like
Turns like 80 or
300 or
something like
80
that.
years old or
Yeah.
something? So, okay. So, any case, Fry believes in Bigfoot. The rest of the characters, I'll call him like a dummy for like believing in such a thing, right? Despite the fact that apparently Bigfoot does exist. He's like 80 years old. He's been in a magazine or whatever, but maybe this is a different Bigfoot. Who knows? It doesn't matter. But in any case, they make camp, and the professor is in his own tent. Hermes and Zoidberg, as we alluded to earlier, they get a tent together. Leela and Amy are sharing a tent as the only girls, and Fry is actually in his own tent, which he's putting up himself. Bender is apparently wanting to sleep outside. Okay, so they're going to all do
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. Now, for whatever campground this is, because it seemed like they had to hike to it, but there's like a ranger station, and we're introduced to a what's his name, Ranger Park, the park ranger. So Park obviously being like a Korean name or whatever, so he's like a Korean guy and he's the park ranger. But wouldn't you know it, he's also big into Bigfoot, so much so that he's like, broke. He's been trying to look for Bigfoot for years and years and years,
As a
and he's
lot of
been
people are, if you've ever gone down that rabbit hole or
maybe
Bigfoot hole.
and he's trying to sell off some stuff for some reason. But in any case, for whatever this is, I guess this park that they're in, this campground that they're in, is big into Bigfoot mythology or something. So he puts on a video to discuss, like, it's kind of like a documentary about Bigfoot, except it keeps on saying like where Bigfoot exists, maybe, and it might hurt his
Possibly.
habitat, maybe, if he exists, right? Stuff like this,
Oh, I do love that. And sometimes Bigfoots are playful,
maybe.
foraging in
Yeah,
blurry areas and
blurry
hiding
areas
behind
behind
boulders.
rocks. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
and
it's very funny.
it's believed that the trees are cutting it down. If he exists, if not, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's just a bunch of what is that, contradictions to each other. So, in any case, they finish this movie, and they like they all
The,
they
the
all watch it, and it's like it is what it is, and then they all ask about
I
questions
saw
about it, right?
Bigfoot crushing cars last night. That was Bigfoot the monster
Bigfoot
truck.
the monster truck. Good question.
Which I have seen that monster truck in real life when I was younger, and that was my favorite monster truck because it was Bigfoot.
Called
Not
Bigfoot.
because it was anything cool. There was obviously cooler ones. Like there was one like Viper something that looked like a snake, and I think this was a crowd favorite one. There was one called Samson, which literally had like fists, like as arms
Oh,
that coming out of
sure.
it, that with like the fists were the headlights kind of thing. Like they actually modeled it. It was pretty cool. But
Interesting how Bigfoot the monster truck still exists 1,000 years in the future as well. So there you go.
that's
But
actually true.
yeah,
Oh wow, I never thought about that.
yeah,
Good for them. Good for them.
yeah. So Ranger Park, he is, as I mentioned, a big fan of Bigfoot. And of course, some people they're commenting on some things I think is this. The professor yells at him. Bender tricks him into thinking there's Bigfoot outside, to which, he keeps on falling for. And Bender just
I
keeps
do
making
like the
fun of
professor because that one is the one that makes the most sense. Like, show me hair trimmings or
him.
or
What does he say? Show
droppings.
me his droppings. He's like, I
Yeah,
have
show me
droppings of a
droppings.
person who saw Bigfoot.
Yeah, I do
Like,
like in like a
no.
little Ziploc bag.
Yeah. It's like, no, please don't show me that. So later at night,
Balderdash.
the crew are all enjoying their evening, right, in the campground. I have to admit, it's a beautiful night, right? They get to see a lot of the stars and,
Certainly,
satellites,
most
product
nights during the
satellites,
summer,
such.
springtime, maybe even autumn in
Well,
Rocky Mountains are
especially
pretty nice.
especially in the mountains. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Not a lot of light
However,
pollution, so it is really
prepare to
nice.
be cold.
Exactly. So, and they're all bundled up for it, right? They're very comfortable with it. So, as they're all getting ready for, going to bed and everything, Fry discusses or asks like Bender's like, "Are you sure you're going to stay outside?" And Bender's like, "Yeah, I'm clearly going to be fine." He's like, keeping away the gnats or whatever. However, wouldn't you know it, Bender becomes cold, and he's also a little freaked
He's
out
a
by being
robot.
outside, despite being a robot. So he instead decides to sleep, and instead of like cozying up with Fry, he's going to trick Fry to get out of his tent rather, and he's going to take over. So he puts on a fake voice. He fakes like being the Sasquatch or Bigfoot to trick Fry, and Fry falls for it. Jumps out of his tent.
Yeah, what bothers me here is that for
Yeah.
some reason Fry decides to brush his teeth while he's looking for Bigfoot.
So okay, so I wondered that myself. I think it's because he wants to like make a good impression. So that's the whole point
Maybe.
for it. But he says like, "Oh, Bigfoot, you taught yourself English?" Right. So I think that's he's trying to make a good impression. That's why, because I was always thinking that too. I'm like, why is he brushing his teeth? But yes, he runs out, tooth in hand. He's brushing his teeth or whatever, and Bender's like snickering to himself, and he sneaks into his tent and falls asleep. So Fry runs through the forest in the night, calling out his name and all this kind of stuff. And we get to a clearing, and this is very much a reminiscent of like those past alien abduction type movies, except this is set in the
Yeah.
future, of course, where aliens are a prominent thing. So Fry doesn't
Oh.
really care much that it's a flying saucer that hovers above him.
It's like, oh yeah, the parking's over that way.
Exactly.
Hey, stop abducting me.
And yes, this weird tube thing comes out of the saucer and yes, basically sucks up Fry. I did find out as well with said research that this tube is supposed to be reminiscent of the old Windows logo, like the
Yeah, yeah.
screensaver or whatever it was, right? Not the
Old
logo,
from
the
like the
screensaver.
late
Late
90s,
90s,
early
early
2000s.
2000s kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that like in grade 4, 5, 6 or something.
Exactly.
We
It's
got
like
the Apple
this
computers.
tube
Yeah.
thing. Exactly. The tube thing that goes around. He's like, oh, cool. But he sucks him up and basically abducts Fry. And we cut to black, right? So the next morning, crew is waking up. Leela's having some Canadian beer, shout out to Canada. And Hermes
That she
is
grabbed from the creek.
the creek, yeah.
She's like,
And you think
yeah,
she's like, oh, nice, crisp Canadian beer. Because you think she's going to drink the mountain water, but no, it's the beer that's in the water to keep it cool. And Hermes decides to do some business, quote unquote, business behind a tree for an hour. And it turns out to be actual business.
yeah.
Like he's doing
It looks,
numbers and
yeah, because
such.
he was kind of like tossing himself like a
Toilet paper.
roll of toilet paper. We thought, no, it's just a printer paper.
Yeah.
Again, this is still kind of a then time. We don't
Yes.
see that this much nowadays. It's all digital, like on even like with
Well, it's all on
like
computers. Yeah.
yeah,
Everything's
well,
done on
like,
computers. Yeah.
yeah, because this was like an old calculator. There's what I was looking for. That would
Sure.
actually print out on like a receipt paper
That's right. It's
kind
called
of
a
thing, right?
printer.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, it's called a printer calculator.
yeah,
Yeah. So he goes behind a tree. He sits down with said, printer paper, and he starts doing math and everything and accounting on this little thing. And yeah, he's happy for the next hour. So, in any case, they're all doing their thing. And as Bender wakes up from the tent, because everybody had gone to bed thinking that Fry had, gone to sleep and everything, Bender rips through the tent, and Leela and Amy are like, "Wait, where's Fry?" Bender doesn't know. Bender walks away, not knowing, and they're like, "Oh, that's strange. Yeah, where's Fry?" Now we cut to Fry running through the forest. Of course, we're behind him, so something's
yeah.
clearly happened to him, and we're not sure what's going on.
Well, I wanted to ask you this. Do you
Yeah.
know? I feel like this is an homage or allusion to something. Do you know where that's from?
Unfortunately, I can't place it myself, but I'm sure there is something because it does strike me as a memory with something when you're following
Yeah,
behind because you're led to believe something has clearly happened to Fry.
or you're chasing him, or some kind of
Right,
like it's in a
something
panic
has
running
spooked him
away.
that's doing something like this.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a lot of things have happened like this because he's
I
clearly
I,
running through. Yeah,
I feel like there's this like stream of like 70s, 80s, and 90s like alien horror or horror-esque movies or something like that just
yeah,
we never watched or something. The worst thing I've seen is Mars Attacks, and that was just bad because it was so good that it was bad or whatever, or so bad
sure.
that it was good.
Right. Well, this beginning of this episode at least is like an homage to a bunch of like old monster and those old
Alien
alien
stuff, yeah.
alien movies, right? Because like a bunch of campers going to the wilderness, one disappears, something happens to him, right? So this is like one of those things. But Fry shows up, right? He shows up to the camp, yells out like, "Hey guys, you're never going to believe what happened." And they're all shocked. They're all freaking out at him. They're looking at him. We don't see why. We don't see why. And he says like, "Well, is there something on my face?" Hermes returns and says like,
Um,
no,
no.
actually no. Turns out Fry is missing his nose. Okay. He looks like I don't actually. This is actually kind of weird, but like on animation because we're so used to it, we never really think about it. But when something is
Mhm.
missing, right, it's clearly visible. So Fry's face is I don't know how he's he can't smell I guess, but his nose is gone, but it's all sealed up, just a blank thing on his face.
Yeah, yeah.
And Zoidberg tells him so in the
Oh,
most Zoidberg
I do
way as
love this little
possible,
joke
right?
of his. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had lots of experience telling patients bad news.
Yeah.
And then he starts like shaking him, like, Fry, you have no nose. What's going on?
Yeah. No knows where it is not on your face. Yeah, exactly. So all this happens. Fry freaks out himself. He looks into a reflection of himself in Bender and he's like, where's my nose? I don't know what happened. Now, they're all like, it's okay. We're going to deal with this. And Zoidberg promises to get him a prosthesis. Cut to them back at the headquarters of Planet Express, and he has like one of those glasses with the fake nose and the eyebrows, like one of those,
Groucho.
yeah, one of those comedic glass things or whatever. And he's so sad, but everybody just can't take him seriously now because he looks like a joke. And what they try to do is like, maybe we can figure out how we can fix your issue. Like, Professor could maybe clone you a nose. Fry says no. I want to have my nose because my nose is, important to me, and it's a thing. It's having that connection, right? For whatever reason, right? He did a lot of things with his nose. I guess he wants that nose. So when they're about to give up hope to the fact that they could never find it, Bender runs in, and wouldn't you know it, it turns out they're actually talking about this whole incident. Apparently, throughout the United States, prominently, I guess, the United States, maybe all over Earth, but we only know about the United States. Humans are getting abducted by the little gray aliens from like those movies back in the day or from the mythology, and they basically
Yeah,
look like they're
it's
basically
probably
poachers.
yeah, it's probably a lot of the references here are probably referencing to those particular ones,
Of course,
those particular
yeah.
movies, the little
That
gray men.
I have the little gray man, exactly. I have a feeling they're taking a lot of influence from, like, because the X-Files was very prominent back at this time as well. I have a feeling they're using a lot of stuff from that because that's what the aliens were, I believe, in the X-Files. So
Cool.
Bender and all those guys, they're watching the show, and Linda and Marbo are talking about this issue with the humans disappearing, and then they're returned without their noses. And it turns out the reason for this is because the human noses are considered to be an aphrodisiac. They call them human horn, which is used mostly by other aliens, to get it on. So this kind of disgusts Fry as they are talking about it, and they show a slight. I think you and I have talked about this a little bit in the past when we're talking about the Neptunians.
Yeah.
Where we see two of Elzar's species, and not the shrimp ones, like the elves ones from Neptune, but like actual, like the human good looking ones or whatever. And their shows
Elzar.
Elzar lookalikes or whatever, good looking Neptunians, and they're getting it on with a little bit of the human horn as they reference it, right? And Fry is disgusted and turns it off, and he decides, okay, we're going to look around and we're going to get my nose back before it becomes an aphrodisiac for an alien. So Fry, Leela, and Bender, they asked Zoidberg, but he didn't want to go. So I guess he doesn't want to go for this adventure. They go to a galactic bazaar. Okay.
I
It's
think
crazy.
in my terminology, we call those kind of like flea markets. I
Yeah,
think
basically what a
they're
bazaar
they're in the
is. Yeah.
same kind of
Yeah.
definition. Yeah.
Yeah. In the
But
same realm.
yeah, I love that bizarre.
Bazaar.
But like it, yeah.
Yeah. So, in any case, they look around said bazaar, and they're looking around all the shops, and they see a sex shop. Okay. Now they go in. I think we might see this alien again. Now that I think about it, I can't remember. Maybe in the
Do you remember what his name
run.
is?
I don't. It's the alien. It doesn't matter. It's the guy who sells the human horn, or tries to sell the human horn to them. But as it turns out, this alien creature or whatever is like always has security footage of the people who come in because he wants to blackmail them, whatever. So he shows them the security footage for what is believed to be Fry's nose, right? And it turns out he did actually sell it, and he sold it to Lur of Omicron Persei 8, as he has dressed up in like glasses and a hat. And it's quite obvious that it's him, but we see him in there.
We only ever see like two Omicronians talk, and it's him and
Ninda,
his wife.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we see them. We see Jur. We see a few other ones
A couple others,
sporadically,
yes.
but the main two, yes, it's always those two, and of course Maurice LaMarche and Tress MacNeille, who do perfectly for those two characters.
Oh,
right?
they're wonderful.
So yeah.
But I did find out this character's name. It's literally a human horn dealer. It's the human horn dealer.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's been in three things. Right, this episode, the Assy Come Home one. I guess they're looking for Bender's butt.
Ass,
and
right?
Yeah. Okay,
Sure.
Since he's a creep, and he also just had like the cameo in the crowd, and he was also in one of the comics. So That's why I
Oh,
said 4, then change it to 3 because
sure.
canonically he's been shown 3 times in
But
the
he does show
series.
up in the Comedy
Yeah,
Central run in Assy Come Home. Okay, there you go. So I thought I remember seeing him again. Yeah, good. So any case, because of course the trio know of Omicron and they know Lur at this point quite well, they fly right to his planet and they sneak past his guards,
I do
kind
like
of.
this. So you're telling me if I give you money for cookies, you could go to this camping ground, and that's the lie we told your guards to get through.
Yeah. And of course the guards are standing right there. So I guess like, oh yeah, I guess Lur will want to hear this. We should bring so so any case, Fry goes up and he begs them, please, can I please have my nose back? I really want my nose. Now, Lur at first obviously is like, whoa, because everybody knows what human horn is supposed to do. And he's like, no. Why would my species, why would I, a king, need anything like this for as an aphrodisiac? Why? I don't even know what it's for, stuff like this,
It's
right?
it's one of those guy
Plays it
things,
off.
It's like no, I
Totally.
don't need a little
I
blue
don't need
pill to,
help.
to get
Yeah.
up. Yeah, I don't
I
need
don't need
help to
help.
be
Yeah.
attracted and
Yeah.
hump my
I'm a
wife.
man.
No,
Yeah.
no,
I'm a guy. Don't
yeah,
don't
no
don't don't
man.
patronize me. Yeah, stuff like this,
Yeah,
right? That's Lur. Lur to a T. So any
insecurity.
case, insecure. And so as he's saying this, all this fun stuff with it, and we all pick out what Lur's insecurities are. Ninda and Lur clearly are having marital issues, primarily in the bedroom. Hence the use of a horn. So Ninda feels bad for Fry as he's continuously begging. So he's like, "Fine, here we can give you back your nose or whatever." And Fry is delighted because he finally has his nose back and he's able to smell again after Leela, lasers it back on with her wrist
Her
gadget, right?
emergency face laser. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it was called, which I find hilarious
Yes.
because we
Out of
never
her
ever see
wrist
it
gadget.
again.
We
Yeah,
never see
yeah,
it again, and she always uses that for basically everything, right? It's like the wrist version of Bender. Like if Bender
kind
can't
of.
do it, her
Yeah,
wrist thing does it. So
yeah.
that's pretty funny. But as they're about to leave, assuming right everything has gone well with the nose and everything,
Bender
Bender,
ruins it all.
yep, Bender pipes up. Hey, Lur, why are you using the nose and not, the
The wing.
downstairs one, the dingaling or whatever he calls it, right? The wing dang doodle.
Yeah, wing dang doodle. There's a lot of those. Oh, what are those called? Like instead of
Euphemisms. Yeah,
euphemism. Thank you.
yeah,
There's a lot of these euphemisms in this episode from here on out, which I do like. All of them. Bender's
yes. And
great.
if you want, we can talk. Like, I think there's a lot of really funny, a lot of ones that just woo sound right. Yeah,
Yeah,
those ones are great. So Bender starts asking these questions. Now Lur's confused because he thought that the nose happened to be what they would consider the wing ding doodle. And it turns out
there's
no,
no
no, no.
animal that has the genitalia on their face. Is there? No bug. If it would be a bug
I
if it
have
was, I
no
think.
idea, and I don't want to look. I don't want to
Yeah,
know. My main thing,
or
though, is that
fish.
Lur doesn't know anything about human anatomy, and clearly a lot of aliens wouldn't if that's what they think. But Lur says, "Okay, well, what's the deal?" So Bender states, like, "Well, it's actually downstairs where the wallet is, so to speak, is a lower horn, which they now refer to as for that,
So
which
the
I will refer to
humans
it as
downstairs conceals a lower, tinier horn.
horn."
Hey, what have
Hey,
you heard?
exactly. And Lur gets the idea, harvest that human's lower horn. So they're going to cut it off. Fry rips off his nose and offers it to them, but that's before we cut to commercial. So his guards hold him and they're about to harvest his, lower horn. And Fry begs and begs, please don't do this. Like, we could do something to try and get your passion back. And Leela says, yeah, like, we know a few places we could probably go to do this. Like, what was a thing that made you feel like you loved each other in the first place? And Ninda tells us a story that Lur apparently used to be quite sensitive. He wrote
Like, he wrote me that
poetry. He was
poem.
really
I was
nice.
just trying to see if my printer was working.
So if you think about his logic here, right? He literally says, okay, we got to get this printer working. I need something to print. Instead of
Yeah,
just like typing a few letters,
the brown
I'm
fox
gonna
jumped
write
over the brown lazy dog or
right.
whatever.
I'm gonna write a beautiful poem just to
Yeah,
test to make sure it works.
about or towards or about Nunda Nunda.
Right. And it's so beautiful. And she says, like, no, you used to be so sensitive. And then like little animals, you used to take care of them when they got hurt. He's like, but I'm the one that injured them and all this kind of stuff.
I accidentally stepped on it.
It's like you did it by accident. Now, that's the whole thing. Lur is clearly trying to impose this idea of being this proper kingly, masculine male kind of thing. And Ndinda is looking for the sincere and, kind and sensitive version of this person that she fell in love with in the first
I think
place.
I've heard that speech from every woman ever about their husband.
Exactly. Everybody's looking for the perfection of the past or whatever. They're trying to cling on to that, right? People change, but it doesn't mean you can't grow. So
We also do see more discourse between them in the future episodes too.
that's
and
very
stuff.
true.
Yeah.
And it even goes so far as to, end in some ways, right? So yeah, there's a lot of different their relationship actually does, you can see the evolution of it throughout the episodes that they're in.
Oh,
It's pretty cool.
side question:
Mhm.
have we seen the Omicrons in the Hulu stuff?
We did. Remember the Omicronian variant.
Ah,
Right. Yeah, that
never
episode.
mind.
Yeah, we saw them. So
I retract my question.
as we go through it, then Leela says, well, you know what, we're going to try and get your passion back, because that's clearly what you're missing. We know a beautiful spot in the mountains. And of course they return to the area where they had gone camping. So nice decorated lights, a nice little table where they're sitting. Bender offers them wine. Lure's super cheap. Doesn't want to
Whoa,
buy
Anthony!
the
Stop.
boxed wine.
You're describing when you and I went camping. Describe the show.
Nice. Well, you ordered tap water because you're not a big spender.
Yeah. Well, in truth, I'm not. I'm not really a big spender. I will spend.
You also don't
No,
drink wine.
I
So.
think yeah, that's true too. No, you and me when we went camping, I taught you this trick about just getting a big box of cereal, and that way you can kind of just eat it.
Yes.
You don't have to bring milk with you. You can just eat it dry, and it's wonderful.
Well, it's a snack food, right? Yeah. Well, okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a side thing for what you're referencing, because yes, if anybody ever goes camping, always bring a bigger box of cereal if you eat cereal, because those tiny little boxes that you buy for, trips, that they say, oh,
Yeah.
have a box and that's a good enough for that thing. Those things are like half full and they're tiny in the first place.
Yeah.
Just
Oh
bring a
yeah.
box and then just eat those, because that's much better. But don't leave it out, because the squirrels will get it.
Chipmunk. It was a chipmunk, and it somehow ended
Same
up in my
thing.
car.
Doesn't matter. But yes,
And I
you
left a
don't
pair
want that.
of shoes behind. My bum still is mad about to this day,
Whatever
almost
it
20
is,
years later.
don't leave your food out, ladies and gentlemen. Do not do this, because
Oh,
animals will come and they will take it,
and
and
it might not be
they'll
the
hang
cute
around.
little ones. It might not be the
Exactly.
cute little ones. It might
Yeah,
be the cute giant ones that go, "Hey, I'm hungry.
I'm
Your
hungry. I'm
food."
going to stick around. Exactly.
Yeah.
So Lure says no to the wine. Ninda says like, "Oh, you're a big spender." You're like sarcastic to him and all this kind of stuff. Freaks out. He demands that Fry get take his lower horn. Fry says, "No, no, no, wait. We'll still bring out some food for you or whatever, and we'll do this." So they have a nice meal, but as it is, there's no magic in the air. There's no passion. There's no feeling. They are clearly just not into each other. So
This
as he's
jerk
about
chicken
to,
is good.
yeah, I
I
might
think
have
I'll have
Fry's
Fry's lower
lower
horn
horn
jerk.
jerked.
It's used to it. Woo!
The first of many.
Oh
So
yeah.
they decide, then we're gonna try and we're just gonna take Fry's lower horn now. So Leela
Well,
says, "Wait,
we
I
forgot to
have."
set this up. Sorry.
What's that?
So Fry's their waiter for this, but he's in a cage.
He's in a cage. As I was gonna
I think
say,
it's,
he's in a
yeah, the same cage that I
he's in
think
a
they put
cage. Yeah,
Leela in.
they put Leela in one of the first times that we ever met them as well, when they were gonna eat her. Funny enough, but yes, Fry's in a cage, and he's like their waiter, but not able to do so. So that way they can hold on to him for it. However, Leela has one more trick up her sleeve. She's going to sing them the most beautiful song, and as we all know, the Omicronians, basically everything that we think is like cute or decent or nice or whatever, the Omicronians think the opposite. So she
More or
starts
less.
singing "I Will Always Love You" by, now her name is blanking on me. What's her name?
Tifton. Nope. Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston. Thank you, Whitney Houston.
I
And
got there.
you did. And to her credit, what's her name? Katie Segal is a beautiful singer. Is a very,
Doesn't
very
she
good
have a
singer.
band?
What's that?
Doesn't she have a band?
No. So she
Sure.
positive. So
Huh.
she's very, very good at singing, however. And she starts singing this with no music or anything. She's just singing it. However, it is hurting the ears of the Omicronians. So they're like, this is it. They're attacking us. We got to get the lower horn and get out of here. So Bender then decides to rescue Fry, and he pushes the cage that Fry's in because it's on wheels. Fry gets, away, kind of, right? Hits a tree, falls out, comes out of the cage. However, somehow Lure catches up to him very quickly, and they're about to hold him down, and they're going to rip it off. All right, rip off his lower
Yeah,
horn
that
with the little
contraption, man.
contraption thing that
Ooh.
just keeps getting more and more sharp.
I had to close my legs there to like,
Ooh,
you know, like whenever
yeah.
you see like a guy
You
get
just
hit in the nuts, you're just like, oh,
ooh, and then you laugh. Yeah, this is not that. It's like it's scary how sharp that thing is and
universal.
how
How
crazy it is.
universal.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone goes,
However,
ooh,
as they're about to do so, wouldn't you know it, they hear like a weird little growl sound come out, like a weird,
uh,
whatever you want to call it. Like I want to say like an ape
uh.
growl or something, because Bigfoot arrives. Bigfoot is actually real, as we already knew. But Bigfoot is real,
As we
comes
already
out,
knew.
and he's
Yes.
80 years younger, but it's a Bigfoot, whatever. Shows up. And I think there's like a little bit of a little hidden joke here. Unless it's not hidden. Maybe I just thought it was a bit more hidden. But he comes out, and of course, Bigfoot is supposed to be like 10 feet tall. Right, he's bigger than any human being. All this kind of stuff. He's like this giant ape-like
Allegedly.
creature, right? Allegedly, but he comes out, and the Omicronians are taller than he is, and they start treating him like a little child, like, oh, he's so cute, oh, look at his little feet, and of course he's called Bigfoot, so there's like this little scene where Bigfoot's like, what? They're actually calling me cute and small? What is this? And he gets angry and he starts like, yeah, he starts like beating things around him. So, in any case, Lurin and Ninda are like just taken in about how adorable Bigfoot is. And the trio are kind of left to the side, like, oh, they forgot about us. Okay, we can relax a little bit. And wouldn't you know it, Ranger Park is there as well. So he shows up. He's like, oh my God, I can take pictures of Bigfoot. So he starts taking pictures of him, and he's going to shoot him with a tranquilizer gun. But then he's going to cut his feet off and then put him back in the wild. So
You'll
Lur
be fine.
yeah, Lur takes offense to this, because he cares about smaller animals, apparently. He takes offense to this, and he stands in the way of Ranger Park and Bigfoot, and Ranger Park still shoots at him, bounces off, doesn't do anything, and so basically scares him off. Now, Ranger Park kind of disappears, and he cuts off some of Bigfoot's fur and, runs off. He now has a bit of proof, and we never really see that again, but, he got his proof for it. Lur goes up to Fry, and he's about to still, take off his lower horn until he realizes, wait a minute, that's the point, isn't it? It is not, I'm just like that ranger. If I mangle this human, am I any better than him? And he does give himself some credit. He's like, yes, I am a bit better, but it's not the same. Or it
Yeah,
is
no. He's
good
saying,
enough,
am I better than them? Yes, but not
but
by
not
enough. And
enough.
I do
Yes.
love that because that's just such a petty thing, right? And I'm
Yes.
like, that's exactly how I feel about a lot of people. Like, am I better than them? Yeah, but
Yes.
not by enough, kind of
Not
thing.
by
Or am I
enough that
worse
you
than
can,
them? Of
right.
course not.
I don't want to be the hypocrite, right? So
Yeah,
Lur
yeah.
says, and he does this like nice little monologue about like, well, he's one of God's creatures and he's this, like, am I any better than blah, blah, blah. And of course he kind of, gets more sensitive and becomes emotional, and Ninda comforts him. And this sparks the passion. They get right into it right
You
there
want to
in the
retreat
middle
at
of the
least
forest.
500 meters to
Away.
safety, which I love because that's half a kilometer away.
Yeah. I love the
That's
three of
what.
them though are like awkwardly like trying to avoid looking at them in different ways, like whistling and like like coughing and or what all that stuff. But yes, Lura tells him to get to a safe distance. The trio run away. I do love as well. Bigfoot's like, like he's
Mm,
proud,
mm.
as if it was his plan all along. And Bigfoot strolls off, right? And that is where the episode ends. However, the episode itself, like the credits, we still have one more thing, because I guess they couldn't fit this into another episode, is what I read about it. But we have another episode of one of my favorite little side jokes of Futurama, the Scary Door, right? The Twilight episode, or the Twilight Zone parody, and
Yeah,
it's
the scary
basically
door.
the Scary Door, and it's basically evil
I have
scientist,
combined all the
all
DNA of
DNA of
all the animals.
evil animals, all
Evil
evil
animals, sorry.
animals, puts them together, and then a human comes out and says, "Turns out
Turns
it's
out it's
man,"
man.
and that's
It's a
where it
great
ends.
joke. It's
Yes,
a great joke.
wonderful. Apparently, it was going to be much longer. From what I was reading, it was going to be much longer, but they couldn't fit it into their episode, so they cut it down and put it into the credits of this episode. So, in any case, so that is Spanish Fry, and yeah, like I love this episode for a lot of different things. I think it's just it kind of hits home because it's very close to where we actually live in home.
Nope.
It has a lot of the fun things that I like. Like I'm a big fan of those like cryptic mythological creatures as well. I love
There's a
aliens. I
lot of
love
weird stuff out there, man.
yes, and I love all that shit. I love talking about it with people. I love listening to it. It's all good. But any case, What are your thoughts on this episode overall before we get into our main things?
I like it. It's a good episode. There's nothing wrong with it. So it's one of those ones where the story's weaker and then the jokes are stronger. It's not a very strong story, but the jokes are funny, and that's
Sure.
fine. I
Yeah.
I, I generally kind of like those ones, but
Well,
and
I thought
yeah,
the story was okay. Like at least it's a lot more coherent than the previous episodes, right? With all the mini stories all
yes,
working together. This one's like it is one big story, and it is nice that it kind of comes all together. Like we were introduced to Bigfoot, the idea of Bigfoot at the beginning. Bigfoot is the thing that kind of saves them at the end. Like it kind of follows through with its story. The whole nose thing, they're traveling to different places looking for his upper horn or his human horn or whatever. Then all this other stuff is it's a little over the place, but I still like the episode. I think it's one of my tops of this season for sure. I think it's funny, but of course we can't go into that without talking about our favorite scene, favorite joke, and of course our MVP. I'll go off the bat and say I think for the two of us, some of our favorite jokes has to be like Bender and all those euphemisms with the I'm gonna have his lower horn jerked. It's used to it. Woo! It's like
I
oh
never
yeah,
thought I'd escape with my doodle, but I pulled it out just like at the
movie
movie theater.
theater.
Woo!
So this is interesting, actually. This as a it kind of is a bit of a pet peeve of mine because what he should have said, I pulled it off, but he uses pull it
Yeah,
out so that they can make the joke work, right? But in any case, doesn't matter. I also like it's like at least you get to hold on to your lower horn, Fry, just like usual.
woo!
Woo!
Way.
So those ones are pretty funny.
What
But
was
yeah,
the other one here? This human's lower horn is one of God's creatures, a living thing, and all living things, large and small.
well,
In
this
this
thing is
case, small.
small.
Woo! Now wait, listen. I'm usually the guy to toot my own lower horn. I'll say woo, but in this case, I don't think it'll do any good. That's what she
She
said.
said, right?
Woo!
Yeah,
So those are your favorite jokes?
I would say those are like in my top jokes. I mean, I love the Hermes like I'm gonna go do some business behind that tree, and it turns out he's actually doing business. I think that's really funny. Oh, there's one joke. I don't know. It was Leela's funny enough, but it was like all of them are walking through at the very beginning of the episode. They're walking through, and
Oh, the fat
she
camp one.
yeah, and like they're talking about Bigfoot, like, oh, you guys are dumb, and then all this stuff, and then she's like, my God, you guys, like, what's with all these emotions? Oh yeah, because Zoidberg gets emotional about hearing Bigfoot, and he's like, I can
Oh
so
yeah, like how he could
that was
relate
kind of funny.
because why do you like Bigfoot Fry? Because he was a big monster who wanted to be part of the popular group, but knew that he was
He
also
wasn't
like
part of that,
vulnerable.
right? But he
Yeah.
longed to be one. He's like, I can so relate to that. He starts crying, and then Leela's like, well, what's with all these emotions? We're not like at a fat camp, although you couldn't tell by looking. Like all of them are fat. So I thought that was pretty fun. That's a really good like joke, right? But yeah, overall, I think just yeah, those ones are good. I like the lizard guy. What are some of yours? I mean, I could go through all funny jokes of this episode, but like, did you have
I
any
like
that stuck out for
The
you?
Zoidberg one there with like the I can so
I can
relate,
so
and
relate.
then what was the other one? The Fry, you have no nose.
Right,
The I'm used to telling patients bad news. I
right.
like that one. Also, when oh hey, we're gonna go to the space bazaar.
Oh, yeah,
It'll be
like, who,
me,
who's gonna
Leela,
go with you? Yeah, me, Bender,
Leela
and
Zoidberg.
Zoidberg if he wants.
If once he wants to, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
Okay, I do like that little slight one
yeah,
there. Um,
yeah.
Oh,
There's
there's
a there's
tons of
a,
them,
there's a
stuff like
few
that.
really
Oh,
good
right,
ones.
right, right. Because they're trying to harvest Fry's lower horn, they
Mm.
brought an ice box with them for some reason. And I love Bender's like, hey man, I got a six pack here. Do you mind if I put that
Put it in here.
in like
Keep it
put it in
cool. It's like yeah,
yeah, keep it cool. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Sure.
Go for it.
And so that pops up after like when they threaten right before Bigfoot comes out, right? And they have like the weird like lower horn device thing. And
Right, the
like
harvester.
Fry's looking at that and looks at that, and then there's a guy, he's like, and he opens up the freezer. You can also see the beer in there. I
Yeah.
just find that like a perfectly like physical joke kind of thing. Like,
Yes.
and there's the
It's a nice
beer still in there.
continuity thing. The
Yeah,
beer is still in
continuity.
there.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
So
No,
yeah,
I like that
yeah.
as well.
There's a lot of good stuff. I don't know what I would say my favorite joke is because, like I said, it's one of those episodes that just has a lot of them,
Mhm.
along with kind of like not as I should say not as a strong story. It's still
Sure.
good, but just there's more jokes than there are story elements. Would
Yeah,
be
I think
what I would say.
the jokes really do hold it up or whatever. For whatever reason, there's also I don't know why they put this into the episode. It's kind of weird, but like Ranger Park when he puts the movie on, and the movie in itself is actually quite funny as well, right? Like back and
I do
forth, like
like
the
that.
contradictions of it's quite funny. But like Ranger Park, he's on the phone. He's like, yeah, and can you put this into like bold? oh, you can't. Okay, whatever. Like, I don't know why. It just makes me laugh every time I think about it. So,
He's only been
anyway,
in this episode. He wasn't even in the crowd,
it's interesting.
according to the
So we
infosphere.org.
never actually see him again. Hey, okay,
No,
interesting.
no.
So,
He might be brought back. Who knows
right.
what they want to do with the next season.
Oh yeah, who knows? I mean, you never thought we'd see the whale biologist again, and we did. So,
That was hilarious.
okay, so my MVP is going to be Lur. I think Lur has a lot of good ones, and of course, like it drives it with the whole. I like the whole insecurity thing. I like that even on the like on the security camera, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just some stranger ruler of the Omicron CIA." I thought that was good, and of course, like the whole, and he defends Bigfoot in the end and all this stuff. So yeah, I'd go with Lur. Lur is my MVP. Fry was a close second, very close second. How about you?
Oh man, let me see. Oh, one thing I did want to mention right when you said this was that I feel like this particular episode has a lot of dated stuff in it. I'm trying to remember. Like, there's like the printer calculator, and
Yep.
also the Pez too. Because
Oh,
when
the
there's
Pez
because
dispenser.
when they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
at the Lower Horn sales dealer,
yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, you guys are cops, are you?"
No, he's a
Like, no, this
crook.
one's even a crook. Yeah, he's like, stolen Pez, anyone?
Yeah,
And like they
it's a
said something else
calculon.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. They just said a couple other things too that were just like very of its time in my
Yes.
mind. There's a
Well, he
couple things
uses a
like that.
VHS to go onto his security camera in the first place,
Also
right?
that,
Yeah,
yes,
so,
yeah.
like,
So
it's
just
super old.
it,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
yeah, it felt a little more dated this one than other ones, kind of thing,
Mhm.
right? Like
Sure.
even like with the documentary that we saw that was on like the old timey stuff,
Right.
which was even before our time. I don't think we had
Yeah.
that at
We
our
would
school.
only
If
yeah,
we
no,
did,
we
it was
used
like
actual
once, and then
VHS back in the day.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
my MVP,
Mhm.
oh, I don't know, man. I do like Bender in this one just for all his comments because
Yeah.
he did not help it out at all this
No.
episode.
Yeah,
So I just
he
like the
kinda sparked
hindrance.
it, didn't he? Yeah, he's like, "Why
Yeah,
don't you use the lower horn?" Yeah, exactly. So you
Fry was pretty good. Oh, geez, man, I don't know. Um, if I had to say for a character, I'm gonna go with Fry.
right, I figured you would, yeah.
Yeah.
Had you flipped a coin in the Parabox universe in universe 1, you would have chosen Bender because you
No, I don't think
won.
like he was just kind of a hindrance to this episode. Like he was an add-on kind of thing. So like any kind of joke, any kind of thing, like oh yeah,
Yeah,
this guy he's a crook. Like he was just there to add on. He wasn't necessarily a
sure,
focal
but
point
he did start off
or
the whole
move
thing of
along.
why Fry, needs to beg for his life in the first
That's
place.
true.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is kind of his fault, but
But yeah, I'm
fair
going with
enough. Yeah,
Fry. I
sure.
was gonna say Bigfoot next, but yeah, Fry. It was Fry, Bigfoot, Zoidberg, and then Lur kind of thing,
I
right?
don't know I don't know if Bigfoot really is good enough to be considered MVP
Mm,
for this episode,
mm.
but fair enough. Great. So if there's anything more to add to this episode then?
Uh no, I think it was like I said, it was a lesser
Fun
story and more
episode. Yep,
jokes episode,
yep.
and I love it. It's probably one of my more favorite ones, just again because of how insulting it is to Fry. But let me see here. This was the 12th episode of this season,
Yep.
and I'd probably
Yep.
put it at the middle. I think, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
maybe the lower half, just because the fifth season just has so many good episodes, and this one is good, but it's not gooder.
Not as the best, right?
Uh,
Not part of the best group, right? Maybe not.
yeah,
No, fair enough. All right, awesome. Well, I guess we'll leave it there for Spanish Fry, and we'll see everybody next time for episode 13, Bend Her. All right. Another interesting episode on this front. It's a very Bender centric one for the next few episodes. So we'll see
next three
how this
episodes.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah. But in any case, man, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next
yeah,
time.
you too. Yeah, toodaloo.
Toodaloo.